What's up, Fantasy A Team Nation? I'm your host, Josh Jenkins, and tonight's video, we are going to reveal our Week 12 waiver wire picks. But before I start the show, I'd like to welcome my good friend and co-host, Zach Roberts, back to the show. Welcome back, Zach.
Hey, thanks for having me, Josh. What's up, A-Team Fantasy Nation? Ready to get back to these videos for you guys. We've got our waiver wire pickups for Week 12. We're going to start off with our quarterbacks first. I'm going to dive right in, man. I got Cam Newton versus Miami, the 28th ranked defense. Rostered 60.6% of leagues, started 45.7 last week. He went 21 of 27 for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. 10 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown. True dual threat quarterback. He had great passing yards for efficiency for what he threw, and he's always a threat with the ball when on the run. So I really like this pickup in this matchup. If you can get him, if you can go pick him up if you don't already have him rostered. So he's going to be kind of a hard pickup, but man, still got to put him up here. He's I'm back on this Carolina team, dude. He's kind of back to what he was in his prime. So he's kind of like I don't know, a chance this week to really shine. I think I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely a good matchup for him, I believe. This is sort of like a new beginning for him. With them facing the Miami Dolphins this week, I look for more of the same. Probably even a little better stats. I look for him to get Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore more touches this week. So I look for big.
I say they win this week. So he played good last week in his first week back. But I say they win this week, and he has better numbers. I bet he throws for 225 plus yards, and he probably runs for close to 80 or 60. Gets another touchdown or 2. And none of these guys are in particular order. So we had Newton at the top, but all these guys we like the matchups. So next I'm going to put Mac Jones on here. He's just continually to be effective and efficient, man. He's playing Tennessee, ranked 30th this week versus the pass. He's rostered 29.7, started 11.5% of leagues. Like I said, he's a super solid replacement. He was 22 of 26 for 207 yards and a touchdown. So he's super efficient in case of replacement for injury or a bye week, and moving forward, he's just going to be a guy that's going to be solid every week. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I looked for more of the same out of him this week. He seems to be on that even, he's just flying right at the same height, putting up basically the same numbers every week. So therefore, I look for much of the same from him.
Yeah, he's a lot like a Jimmy Garoppolo, man. I mean, never going to put up huge numbers, but always going to keep you solidly in your lineup, going to keep your matchup close so that somebody else can win it for you. One of your other studs, whoever's not on bye or injury or underperforming. Hopefully all your guys are overperforming. So, all right, next I got Tyrod Taylor. He's back. Played great last week. They're playing the Jets this week, so they're 23rd versus the quarterback. Nobody hasn't really rostered 3.1%, only 1.6% started. So he should be available for anybody to go pick up for a replacement for injury or lack of production, because I think his numbers will continue just to go up. He's another dual threat quarterback, 14 for 24 for only 107 yards passing. He didn't have any touchdowns, but he was 6 for 28 and 2 touchdowns. So once he gets in the red zone, because he's got such great legs, he's a chance to, kind of like Jalen Hurts type. He's going to run it in probably more than he's going to pass it. But from a fantasy standpoint, his numbers last week were great. So he's going to continue to put up solid numbers. And I think probably of these 5 guys, him and Daniel Jones would be your best, highest ceiling just right off the bat. Cam Newton could have a higher ceiling than those 2 guys, but he has a lower floor than both Tyrod and Daniel Jones this week. Next, I'll let you comment on Tyrod Taylor.
Last week's win that they got surprised me a little bit. But I'm actually going to predict another win this week against the Jets. And he is a good quarterback. He's a steady, even keeled quarterback. That if you are in a bind and you definitely need somebody, you can pick him up. And
I think he's one of the best bets. Yeah. And it's like what you just said. He's one of the probably the most talented that's out there still available. Like what you're just saying. I think one of the biggest reasons is last year he played one game, and then that second game when he got that injection, he was out, and that's when we found out about Herbert. So up until that, you'd have to go back two plus seasons or whatever to get any footage on him as a coordinator. And even then, he wasn't on this team. So with that said, as a coordinator, you just kind of throw out your vanilla defense and try to adjust on the fly during the game as best you can. With that said, man, it's hard to defend against him. You know what I mean? He's true dual threat quarterback. If he sees you're doing something that's going to leave him wide open for the run, then he's going to run. But he's got a good arm, so he can throw it on you too. You know, I mean, he only threw for 170 yards, but he could easily throw for 200 yards and run for 100. You know, so he's a great pickup with him only being 3.1%. All right, so let's move on to the next guy. I got Jimmy Garoppolo, Minnesota, 26th ranked defense, rostered 14.8%. He was only 16 of 22 for only 176 yards, but he had 2 TDs and he had 2 carries for 6 yards. He's just another solid replacement. He's like big brother to Mac Jones, similar style of play, and same, you know, not going to lose the game, not going to win the game for you, the matchup, but going to put up solid numbers. Efficient replacement for anybody that's out or underperforming.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he fits the bill. He ought to be able to give you what you need in a tight situation if you need a quarterback during a bye week or something like that.
I think he's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more versus Cousins in Minnesota this week. So I think it's a great matchup that he's going to throw for over 225, 250 yards, probably a couple touchdowns, Deebo Samuel, and probably Brandon Ayuk or whatever. So,
yeah, he's definitely the way Minnesota played against Green Bay last week.
He's going to have to put up numbers.
He's definitely going to have to sling the ball more, and he's going to have to get it to Deebo more, whether it's
I agree
some trick plays or what.
Or that Brandon Ayuk played great the last 2 weeks, so we'll see. All right, Daniel Jones, who I got last for the waiver wire quarterbacks. He's playing Philly's 17th ranked defense, 18.9% roster. Seems like he's always out there. We put him on here almost every week, and he puts up pretty solid numbers. 4.8% started, 23 of 38 for only 167 yards and a touchdown. He ran the ball 3 of 10 times, but here's the big kicker, man. This is why I got him on here, and there'll be a lot of Giants players on here because they fired Jason Garrett, man. That no longer, they got a new offense. So all those guys that got paid money, Evan Engram, Kenny Golladay, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Evan Engram, all these guys are going to be getting the ball more because they paid them a bunch. I mean, you pay the guys to get the ball, right? Perform. So they're going to give these guys a chance in the new offense, I guarantee it. And as any team, when either the head coach or the coordinator's fired, that team and or offense defense steps up that next week, usually plays solid. So I look for that this week.
Yeah, that team up there, 1 week,
a lot of talent on that team.
1 week, Daniel Jones is slinging the ball down the field. He's got over 400 yards, and then the next week he can't hardly do anything.
I hate to say it, but I think it's that Jason Garrett offense, man. That's what I think.
Yeah, I hope it is Jason Garrett who is the problem. The talent's there for Daniel Jones. I think they'll play a whole lot better this week since they fired him. I think they're getting back to being fully healthy. They've got to start playing better ball with what talent they got.
I know, dude. The kicker has more points. Like they were just talking about how Graham Gano has like so much percentage of their points higher than any Giants team ever in history or something like that when I watched it the other day, which kind of makes you think, man, the kicker scoring most of the points for their team. That's hurtful. They definitely needed more out of all those guys are being paid big money. So look for that to happen though. They're gonna make those guys, earn their money. Those guys are studs. That's why they're getting paid. Something was up with that offense. It was just kind of, stalwart. It was like a car that didn't have the right timing or something. It just sputtered or barely, along, man. So they got to be better.
I think if they'll start letting Saquon Barkley catch the ball out of the backfield, kind of like Deebo Samuels does sometimes. They'll do some fakes and stuff for him. If they'll start doing that, getting him more involved, I mean, I think the whole offense will be better.
Well, it'll change the look to the defense too. Like you just said, if you get him out, it's going to stretch the defense out wide, right? And that's when you get it into Evan Engram, up the middle or the top, man. So, yeah, they're going to be better. All right, let's get to the running backs. Number one, and none of these guys are in particular order, just like the last. It's just like these are the 5 guys that we like that are available. David Johnson, he's back off injury, and he's going against the Jets' 32nd ranked defense, so he's got the best possible matchup. He's only rostered 32.8% and only started in 14.5. He was only 13 carries for 18 yards, 3 catches for 4 yards for 16 yards. He had 4 red zone touches though. So I say he goes off a lot more this week. And I believe that they'll utilize his skill in the red zone. Like he had the 4 touches. So I believe he'll probably have somewhere between 50 and 75 yards rushing, maybe 25, 35 yards receiving, and a couple touchdowns, hopefully. So that's why I have him on here. I love this matchup this week.
Yeah, I agree. I do believe they'll get him more involved in the offense this week. I look for his numbers to go up, carries and touches, or receptions. So, yeah, I look for more of the same, probably a little better.
With Tyrod Taylor being able to run around a little bit, it's going to be able to let him leak out, and they'll have some offensive plays to get David Johnson the ball. He's a game breaker when he's actually healthy and on the field. So that's why I have him on here too. He's a stud. All right. Next I got Dontrell Hilliard, man. This guy turned out to be a stud. So he filled in for Derrick Henry, man. They're playing New England, 21 ranked defense. I think he's only rostered in 3% of the league. They brought him up from the practice squad last week or whatever, so he really wasn't supposed to get the ball. It was who was it that was playing? Who got the ball in Tennessee last week?
They was giving it to Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson, yeah, he just didn't produce. I kind of knew that was going to happen. And so this guy last week, though, he had 7 carries for 35 yards, and he had 8 catches on 10 targets for 47 yards. He didn't get into the end zone because he was sharing touches with Peterson, but I think he showed last week. That's why they let Peterson go. I don't think they let him go, but I don't think he's going to get the ball this week from what I read, because Hilliard guy dominated the snap count. And so he had 2 red zone touches. So I look for you guys, man, who need somebody. Pick this guy up, throw him in your lineup, whether it's a flex play or your second running back. Throw him in there, man.
Well, Tennessee didn't play good at all last week.
So they've got to play.
But now this week they're going up against the New England defense,
which is still pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. With his performance from last week, I'm expecting more of the same, and probably more touches and carries from him this week against the Patriots. I'm sort of disappointed with Adrian Peterson. I know he's getting old. I think he's 36. And I was hoping when they signed him, he would, show us some more of the old. And
flashes all day. Yeah.
Yeah. And
those days are gone, man.
But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. But, I look for more of the same from Hilliard.
I'm not saying there ain't a good game or 2 or 3 or whatever out of Adrian Peterson in the future, but it's sad to see that he couldn't get it together that day. So, all right. Also, I got Tevin Coleman. Michael Carter went down for the Jets, so somebody's going to fill that role, whether it's him or the other guy, and I can't remember his name, Michael Perrine or something like that. So their matchup is versus Houston this week, the 23rd ranked defense, only 13%. Rostered, 5% started, 0.5% started. He had 5 carries on 16 yards and 1 catch for 2 yards. We'll see if his productions go up since Michael Carter's out, but I believe that's what will happen. I mean, I'm sure he'll carry him, and the other running back will share carries, but Tevin Coleman in the past is kind of like an Adrian Peterson. I mean, he was never no Adrian Peterson, but Coleman's shown in the past where he could play good. So I can remember his 2 first years in the league, man. Whenever he stepped up and got the ball, he played great. So I don't know. Maybe he can play good here for the Jets. They have a decent offensive line, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it'll actually be a good game this week between them and the Texans.
I do too.
Yeah, it's next man up with that team. So between the two, I look for them to probably split the carries.
Oh, yeah. And that's it going into the game. That's what's going to happen. But if that Perrine guy, the other guy, not Coleman, but whoever, one of them's going to outperform the other one. Whoever does, man, look for it going forward for them to ride that pony, man. That's what you got to do in this league. So next man up and continue your offense. And they're a run heavy offense, throw to the backfield. So, all right, I got Jamaal Williams for Detroit playing Chicago game tomorrow on Thursday game, Thanksgiving game. He's rostered 39.3%, only starting 2.6 because Swift has really been playing well, but like any running back, you think he had 23 carries the week before and 32 carries last week. And he gets thrown the ball a lot. Swift does. So he can't continue that production every week. And I believe that Jamaal Williams back and healthy for a full week installed in the offense, I think that he's going to get the ball more this week. His production should go up and his touches should go up. Last week he had 12 carries for 57 yards and 3 red zone touches. So those numbers are going to be the same or higher. So look for that, more of that.
Yeah, this game against Chicago, that Chicago front line is pretty tough. And I think Jared Goff is coming back this week, unless he has a setback in practice the rest of the week.
I didn't see them say anything about it today on anything, so I think he's set to play.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I'm expecting probably about the same numbers as last week. Maybe even a little better.
I think his production will go up because he'll get more carries. Because when he came back, he was still questionable last week. Now he's not questionable, and he has a full week of practice underneath his belt. I think he'll at least get, like last week, okay, you had the 12 carries plus the 3 red zone touches he didn't get in the end zone or whatever. So he's going to get somewhere between 12 and 15 touches, people. Basically, maybe a little bit more to relieve Swift, depending on how many offensive plays they get. But, that's pretty much how that's going to play out tomorrow. I look forward to that game tomorrow, the Detroit-Chicago game. Usually I don't look forward to a game like that, but I'm looking forward to it. Last but not least, man, I'm going to throw Latavius Murray on here. They're playing Cleveland, 18th ranked defense, so they got a pretty stout defense. But he's only rostered 14.5% of the league, 1.3%. This guy's a veteran stud. When he gets the ball, he makes the most of most carries. He was 10 carries for 32 yards. 2 catches for only 1 yard. So they were catching him out of the backfield and catching him before he could get going. But I believe he could have more carries this week. And I believe he could have a good game because this is a pretty good matchup. And Baltimore is just one of those run teams that it's hard for any team, even Cleveland, who's a great team on defense, is going to have a struggle with this offense, with this run heavy offense. Latavius Murray, dude, they're going to, between him or Lamar, they're both going to get the red zone carries. So I like Latavius Murray back this week.
Yeah. They're going to split the carries. I'm sure him and Freeman. And then, Lamar, he runs the ball so much
efficiently, dude.
Yeah,
efficient. Lamar Jackson's efficient with the ball. Every time he runs with it, dude, he gets the maximum amount. Dude, I got to give him credit. Like, as good as Mahomes is at throwing the ball and maximizing it on yards per throw, for yards per carry as a quarterback, Jackson's number 1 in my eyes. So, with that said, dude, it's hard to dictate how much Freeman and Latavius Murray is going to get the ball, but I like Murray in the red zone because he's smart and big solid guy. He had 3 touches last week. 2. I can't remember. It was 2 or 3 touches last week in the red zone. So
yeah, he's that big burly back. He's going to definitely probably get the red zone touches. Then I guess it all depends if he's needs to go for a rest on the bench. Freeman comes in.
It just depends on how it plays. Like think of it this way: say Lamar breaks a 25-yarder down to the 5. They might run Lamar again, or they bring in Latavius and let him try to run it in, You got him or Devontae Freeman, and he's been playing great too. So anyways, with that said, dude, I'm ready to move on to the wide receivers. And again, these guys aren't in any order or whatever, but I've got Elijah Moore for New York Jets. I guess you said Wilson's going to be back this week, right?
He is coming back.
Elijah Moore had a great game last week, and he's only rostered. The reason why I have him on here is roster like that 50%. So 55.2%. So if you can go get him, if he's out there, man, this guy's a stud. He had eight catches on 11 targets for 141 yards and a touchdown. I look for him to build off that game, dude. When Wilson comes back, he's gonna, he's shown that he's a solid guy. You throw Corey Davis is on here also for an honorable mention at the bottom of the list. Another solid guy that he's rostered at 57.9%. So both these guys are guys that may be possible for you to get in an offense that I think could start to heat up now that Wilson's back, and they have a great matchup versus Houston and Tyrod Taylor and them. So we'll see how that plays out this week. What do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be opportunity there, because I believe probably the deep threat is Corey Davis, and then between him and Jamison Crowder, it's anybody's game at that point. It all depends on who's open, I guess.
Well, what I think is before they were a run-heavy team and throwing out of the backfield to that Michael Carter in the last couple of weeks, just how their offense had to, run. But now that you got Wilson back, and like you just said, we have Corey Davis, Crowder, and Elijah Moore. They got 3 stud wideouts now. I mean, when I say studs, for most teams, these guys may not be starters, but these guys, I mean, not starters, but number ones. But with this team, I think that that's 3 solid wideouts, man. So that gives Wilson somebody to throw to, whereas, these guys weren't producing like they are in the last several weeks. So I don't know if it's just the offense is starting to get it together, finally, I think they're going to miss that rookie, though, Michael Carter, man. That guy was starting to really play well. So hopefully they can help fill that role and keep that offense potent for us fantasy guys. We're trying to find some gems. So right there is one, though. Elijah Moore, man. I think this guy is one of those guys that can really take off moving forward. You should be able to get him maybe in your league. So, all right, man, I got T.Y. Hilton versus Tampa Bay. He's one of those guys that he's dealing with a toe issue or something. Tampa Bay's 15th ranked defense, and he's only rostered 12.5%. So you should be able to go get him. People dropped him or whatever, and he's just a game breaker, bro. If he's going to be on the field and you have a chance to get him, start him. Get him starting. I mean, most of you guys are probably on here looking for waiver wire pickups because you guys are hurting a little bit, maybe need someone this week. If you can get T.Y. Hill and go pick him up, and I would say almost start him every week going forward. Carson Wentz looks like he's starting to play great. Their offense is picking up with Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., and now T.Y. Hilton, dude. If he's back, dude, walk out. Their offense is going to be potent again. So what do you think?
Yeah, with that run game and Jonathan Taylor taking off like it has been the last few games, Carson Wentz has been able to find his receivers. Yeah, he's definitely worthy of a start. I probably wouldn't start him as my 1 or 2. I would probably put him as my flex.
Or if you're hurting at your 2 position, or somebody's on bye or something, you'd start him. But yeah. All right, so the next guys, I have 2 guys that are kind of together because they play for the same team. I got Jacoby Myers and Nelson Aguilar. Both of them are playing Tennessee, so 32nd ranked versus the pass. So that gives them both a great matchup for Mac Jones. Jacoby's 56.8% rostered, and Nelson Aguilar is only 10% rostered. So of the 2, Aguilar is probably the one you could go get. Jacoby Myers had 4 receptions on 6 targets for 39 yards, no touchdowns, but I believe he's a little athletic rookie, or I can't believe it's a second year as a rookie, but he's an athletic stud. So I think win a chance if they can get him the ball. I think he can break one and get at least one touchdown. I think this week maybe he could have 50+ yards and a touchdown. Now Aguilar, he's the solid vet. He's going to get your 3rd down catches and possibly just some red zone targets. He was 5 for 5 on his targets last week for 40 yards, and he did get that red zone touchdown. So he's the one that you could probably get, but either one I like. And if you can go get them, man, pick them up. They're going to be a good replacement for someone who's injured or someone who's on a bye or someone who's underperforming, at least this week for this matchup. And we have to check the matchup next week, but I like these 2 guys.
Yeah, I think pretty much Jacoby's your starter. and Aguilar. I think him and Bourne get substituted out back and forth. But I noticed last week during the game, Aguilar was getting, several touches. He was getting several receptions. So, yeah, between him and Jacoby Myers, you can't go wrong on that team.
Right. So last but not least is Russell Gage. He's the number one moving forward there with whatever's going on with the Atlanta wide receivers. So he's the number one there. He is 5 for 8 last week, 49 yards and 0 touchdowns. They're playing Jacksonville. He's 26th ranked. He's 14.7% rostered and only 3.5 started. So you should be able to go get him. He's actually a number one on his team. Now, granted, they only put up like 149 yards or something passing last week, and of that, he had 49 yards. So he was like a third of their passing offense last week. Russell Gage was. So moving forward, I look for him to do that. If as Matt Ryan goes, he'll go. So if Ryan throws for 300 yards, this guy might have 125 yards, right? Because he's going to be almost like a third of the offense. I mean, that's just how he's installed. So even in a bad game, look for between him and Pics, that's their passing offense right now. You know what I mean? And then their backfield's kind of a jumble of Davis and whoever that other guy was. Who was the other guy Atlanta that played last week for Atlanta?
I'm not for sure. I know they got Corey Davis, but
well, no, they have Mike Davis, but they had some rookie guy that played, or maybe a practice squad player that got the ball. It really wasn't that big of production because they played so crappy last week. That's why neither one of us know who it was, because they didn't have much for offense. But moving forward with that kind of a problem, man, Gage is like the number one, option for the offense. So that's why I put him on here with him being able to be available right now. Grab him, dude, because he's not going to put up bad numbers for the rest of the season. They're going to get him the ball, and he's going to make some more fantasy points for some of you guys for some matchups going down in the playoffs and stuff. So.
Yeah, last week, Matt Ryan could not stay up on his feet. They were eating him alive.
Is that his fault? We've seen that plenty of times. I mean, where a guy has a week like that, he comes back pissed the next week and throws 300, 400 yards. So we'll see what happens this week.
Yeah, I'm expecting 300-plus yards from Matt Ryan this week again.
And they're playing Jacksonville. Like I said, they're 26 versus the pass. So I think he has a game this week. Look for Russell Gage to bounce back, guys. Same thing with the whole Atlanta offense. All right, man. So let's get to the tight ends. We've got quite a few on here. Just going to throw out here real quick. So I got the tight end for Pittsburgh, Pat Freiermuth. I think this is how you say his name. They're playing Cincy, 15th ranked defense, 33% rostered. Was only 4 for 7, but he was able to get in the touchdown because he's such a big guy. He's kind of like a Heath Miller. They said he's like a young Heath Miller, so which used to be Big Ben's favorite target. So there's one guy you could pick up.
Yeah, this game is going to be pretty even, I believe. With Cincinnati having Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase, and then Pittsburgh having what is that guy's name? They got Claypool, and then Dante Johnson, and then they got
Najee Harris, the beast.
The rookie Najee Harris out of the backfield. I looked for somebody's going to have to be open in the end zone, and he's a big bodied tight end, so I look for him to definitely get some red zone targets.
He's not going to put up a lot of yards, but I think he has a chance to get a couple touchdowns and maybe 4 or 5 targets and maybe 35 yards or something.
Yeah, because Big Ben's playing better. So
yeah, as Big Ben goes, kind of like with the Matt Ryan thing and Russell Gage, same thing here. As Big Ben goes, so will this Pat Freiermuth. All right, next we got Dan Arnold, man. He's playing Atlanta, 13th ranked defense, 19.6% roster, 10.7%. He didn't have no catches last week. He had a tough week last week. But the week before that, he was 5 for 8 for 67 yards and no touchdowns. So he's been on a lot of our videos before. So that's why I put him on here. I picked him up. I said, dude, this guy's a stud. So we've seen him perform a lot. And I like this matchup this week. Atlanta's kind of like their offense is kind of sputtering, so that's just going to be more chances for Dan Arnold and his team on offense. So I like that matchup.
Yeah, I especially like this matchup against Atlanta. I look for him to get several touches. Probably
Probably
about the same number as that game you was talking about earlier.
5 for 8 for 67, and he didn't have a
Yeah.
touchdown, but I think he gets one this game. So let's say he'll go 5 or 6 catches for 60, 70 yards and a touchdown, which is pretty damn good for a touchdown or for a tight end.
Yeah, I was actually hoping Carolina had found their tight end of the future, like Greg Olsen was, but evidently they needed a little help elsewhere and decided to ship him off to Jacksonville. I actually think he's a good tight end, and he's going to be very helpful for Trevor Lawrence in the future.
That's why I like him, is he's kind of a safety net for him. Moving forward, though, I got Evan Engram. So with that New York offense being changed over from Jason Garrett to whatever they're going to play now, this guy was paid a lot of money. He's healthy again. They're playing Philly 32nd ranked versus the tight end. This guy's available in most rosters. He's 27.3%, so he's available in most leagues. I look for him to get – he's a weapon, bro. If you ever watch him, this guy's, kind of like a Kelsey in a way. I mean, he's an athlete. So I look for them to be used more, man. I don't know what his numbers are going to be, because they're going to be different than the 2 for 5 for 12 yards and no touchdown last week. That was horrible. That's why one of the reasons why I fired Gage. It's just been a lot of that lately. So they got a lot of weapons there, man. So I look for Evan Engram to have a good game this week, dude. 32nd ranked defense. And he's available.
Yeah, when Engram come into the league, he was pretty hot. He started off his career very well in New York. I'm hoping that with this new offense that they definitely give him some more touches. It can't get no worse. So I'm definitely expecting, his touches to go up.
Right. All right. So I also got, because they're making a change in Chicago, tomorrow's game versus Detroit, Cole Kmet, the tight end for Chicago. I like him. He's another guy that I think's an athlete. And Dalton seemed to like him. He did only come in and throw him 1 of 2 times for only 12 yards, but Dalton uses the tight end a lot. And I think moving forward, dude, with Dalton at the helm, he'll look for this athlete and get him the ball some more. So I think Cole Kmet is a great pickup and could be played this week if you have a weak tight end. But if not, man, keep him, and I think he'll have a better matchup moving forward. Detroit's 11th versus the tight end, so they got solid linebacker and safety play.
Yeah, I agree. As a fan of the game, what's going on in Chicago is just terrible. I'll be honest with you. I believe they should have set the rookie and let him progress, get a little knowledge of the NFL under his belt. Let Dalton and the veteran Nick Foles, let them 2 guys handle the quarterback position. With that being said, the whole offense would be better. The defense is already good. Allen Robinson last year was a beast. This year he's a shell of himself. The quarterback situation is
the way the Nagy and them are doing the offense, dude. I mean, I agree with your assessment totally. I think that they're trying to make something out of nothing when you can make that something out of what, that something is Justin Fields. You could make something out of him if you let him learn at a right pace, kind of like what they did with Mahomes. But if you rush him out there, dude, and he gets banged up, it's going to be discouraging. And they're not going to get what they want out of him. He's not going to get what he wants out of himself, and he'll be wanting to go to another team where they're going to utilize him. Well, he feels like an offensive coordinator is going to utilize him, right? So, because that kid, Justin Fields, knows nothing how to do but win. If you go back and look at him in college, man, the guy's a stud. But I think he's just forced into starting too soon. So you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Forced into starting too soon. They should have set him. And like you said, I didn't even realize Nick Foles was there. Nick Foles has won a Super Bowl for Philly, right?
Yeah.
And you got Dalton, the Red Rifle, who's a solid veteran, has been in the league for over a decade. So those 2 guys, man, they could teach Fields a lot, bro. That's why Mahomes is so good, because he learned from I can't think of his name. Come on, help me out. Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. Yeah, I mean, it would have been the same perfect example with Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre, Pat Mahomes behind Smith, Cam Newton behind Jake Delhomme. I mean,
Right, give these guys a chance to learn the offense, man, for real, and be able to learn to read defenses. You asked Mahomes what his number one thing when I've listened to his comments is learning to read what's being played against him so that he can get the ball the right place. So, all right, next I got CJ Uzomah. They're playing Pittsburgh, so Pittsburgh's 12th versus the tight end, but he's available in 26.7% of the league. He didn't put up big numbers last week. He was only 2 for 3 for 9 yards. But I look for this guy, man. In the past weeks, he's had great play versus Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be like you said, a back and forth between Cincy and Pittsburgh. So I think tight end. I think he gets some red zone targets. Uzomah does, and he's an athlete. If he gets the ball and they're not covering correctly over the middle, the linebackers and safeties, he could easily take it to the house. Man, this guy's got great legs. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I was. Last year Burrow played great. And then he tore his ACL.
Up and down, up and down.
And this year it's up and down, and you don't really know what to expect out of him.
Tell me about it. I have him in two of my leagues this year, so it's kind of killing me. Like every game I start him, he plays bad. When I don't play him, I play someone else, like Cousins or whoever else I have on my other team. I think it's Wilson. He performs a big game, so it's just like don't know when to play him.
But when they do use him while the ball, he performs.
He's a stud. I would utilize him more in that offense.
Yeah, they definitely got to utilize him more. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, so not last but not least, I want to throw Tyler Conklin in there. He's got a tougher matchup versus a 7th-ranked San Francisco versus tight end. But Conklin for Minnesota has been playing like a stud, so that's why I have him on here. He has the toughest matchup, but, man, he's only rostered 21.2%, and their offense is heating up there. He was 3 for 3 last week for 35 yards, and I think he had 2 red zone targets. But I think moving forward, he has a higher ceiling. He's moving up. As the offense moves up, he's moving up too because he's being utilized. Him and Cousins have good chemistry. So that's all I got for you guys, man. Go pick these guys up, guys. Hopefully this helps your guys' teams get, righted, your ship righted. If it's wrong, then you guys get these wins out, man. Bang them out.
Yeah, on the Conklin, that offense is rolling right now. They just come off a tight win against Green Bay. And his stock's only going to rise. This week, I think you're going to see more of the same, maybe even a little more out of him.
And I think even though it's a tougher matchup, I think they get him one in the red zone, man. The guy's been a solid player for him, dude. So
they will. Guys, that wraps up week 12 waiver wire picks. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like and subscribe button. If you have a comment, drop them down below, and we'll get to them as quickly as possible. And remember, friends don't let friends auto draft.